What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling incredible today. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, wherever, Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old Moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void, of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be fantastic, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling wonderful. Just good energy all around here, Cancer. Now, today the moon is still in Gemini, and with the moon being in Gemini, you may be feeling still like a chatty Cathy, Cancer. You know, this energy is very social, very talkative, and you may be feeling intellectually curious. So if you got, let's say, a lot of studying that you need to get done, moon in Gemini is the energy for you, Cancer. And she's also entered her waxing gibbous phase. So this is a time when we take a more kind of detailed look at our approach, kind of see if we can do any sort of refinements or just anything along those lines, Cancer. You know, if we see any kind of tweaks or, you know, whatever, if we've been noticing any kind of resistance, you know, let's modify and keep that moving, you know. And lastly, the decks that I'm using, this one is the Wandering Moon Tarot deck, and I've Chariot Friends exclusive, and I'll include a link for this deck and the other deck that I'm using, the Anatomy of a Witch, and this is an Oracle deck. All that down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested, Cancer. But checking out the first, the card of, we're going to do the first card of the day is going to be the general energy. And right now we're kind of looking at the King of Pentacles, King of Stars, or the King of Pentacles in reverse here. And with this energy popping up, Cancer, you know, I feel like maybe some of us are in this place of maybe we're trying to get either our finances in line. It could be, because I'm just thinking on like a base level, the stars have to deal with like business or financial matters, but it could also be like our emotional stability, you know, or anything that where we feel like our security is not where it should be. I feel like maybe that's something that's been kind of on our minds here, you know. Maybe let me think, for an example, let's say that maybe we're a little behind on bills, you know, and we're not sure, you know, as far as like payments, you know, maybe we're waiting for like tax time to get some stuff taken care of, you know, maybe we're in a place of just like uncertainty right now, Cancer. And you know, it's one of those things that when we get in these types of situations here, I feel like the best kind of thing to do is really to just, and I know how it sounds, but just like pause for a second and kind of just evaluate what's going on, because I find that when we're in like a precarious type of situation, or you know, where we're not feeling anchored, or you know, not feeling as secure as we want to feel, you know, when we keep moving around and you know, we're constantly, you know, we're trying to figure out solutions and we're pacing, you know, and kind of frantic. It's just like when we're operating from that fight or flight mode, it's just like, wait a second, Cancer, you know. It's just like, if we find ourselves kind of spiraling, you know, that it's I really feel like the best thing, you know, and whatever, you know, and make this work for you, Cancer. I'm just, you know, when I find that I'm personally kind of, you know, maybe in my head and kind of, you know, maybe worrying about, you know, how am I going to fix this foundation, you know, just stop, breathe. You know, even if you're the type that has to process this stuff while moving, make sure we're breathing, you know. And it's just like duh, but I mean like some mindful breathing, you know, being very present, you know. It's like, okay, what's going on? Okay, why am I feeling this way? Okay, because of X, Y, and Z is going on. Okay, why am I feeling them? And just like working through that process, Cancer. and we're going to get the next couple cards is going to be like how do we work with this energy. But you know, I feel like, you know what, since we already got the first card was ready to jump out here, and I feel like you got the Three of Moons here, Cancer. So maybe one thing to do when we finding ourselves in an unstable type of position here, if we're feeling like we're, I don't want to say that we're alone in this thing, but you know, sometimes if we feel like we can't handle a situation, or like maybe we feel like we have to take something on all by ourselves, and if we don't, then we've let ourselves down or something along those lines. But Cancer, I feel like there's nothing wrong with reaching out for help every now and again, or even just expressing your feelings. You know, you may not, it may not even be, you know, it's just like, listen, this is not anything that you can really help me with, but I just need to get this off my chest. I need a sounding board, you know, someone that I can kind of just help process this stuff. Because sometimes when I feel like when we're trying to work through this ourselves, where we know when we're entertaining, you know, like if we're getting into like bad thoughts, you know, and we're starting to, you know, essentially, you know, go down that drain there, you know, go down that path. It's like we can be as mindful as all get out, but still you can mindfully walk down that path. It's like, you know what, it looks like I'm just gonna have a crappy day, and you know, it's gonna be, you know, I got to think about this, and then we're just gonna go into this thing. But Cancer, if you find that whatever this thing you're dealing with is too much, I feel like definitely reach out to someone. I feel like there's never anything wrong with rising up. Because here's my thing too, you know, because maybe some of us think that it could be like, I'm getting like maybe it could be like a sign of weakness here, something along those lines. Because you got the Emperor here now, and the Emperor has to rise up when the Emperor's not feeling stable. You know, this is something that if the Emperor needs to reach out, the Emperor will, you know, that's where the Empress comes in. You know, that's where, because when I think about the Emperor and the Empress, you know, and this is something that I've been thinking about the last week or so, it's like the Empress is focusing on self-growth and making sure that we're all good within, so that we're feeling King of Pentacles inside, and you know, feeling confident in all of that, so that when we go to display this energy outwardly, that's where the Emperor comes in. You know, he's that display of like, okay, this is what happens when you self-care, you know, when you focus within and you hone your skills and all this stuff. These are the results here. Emperor's leading by example. And you know, I feel like with this energies kind of popping up here, I think that this would be good for you, Cancer, if we are the type that feels like, you know, we have to handle everything, you know, that we don't need any kind of help. You know, I feel like it's a tough place to be, Cancer, because you're not alone in this thing. You know, it's a really weird place to be, because believe me, I understand where it's like you want to be in control of your life here, and you want to feel like that you can solve everything, and that and in Cancer you do, where you're strong at this. You know, I feel like sometimes, you know, I think that when we do get in a place where something is, where we need to ask for help, we like fault ourselves for not knowing how to do that thing in that moment. Well, Cancer, it's something that just, you didn't have eyes on it. You know what I mean? It's just, this is something that we need to, we all have something we can learn from each other, you know? And I just like, because I get being in this place of, you know, it's like almost like your back's against the wall. You want to ask for help, and then I mean, one thing, it's a matter of pride, Cancer, one thing. And you know, you're in a safe space here, you know, like, you know, we're not pointing fingers or anything, but I think I'm gonna leave with this. It's just like, even the Emperor, it's okay for the Emperor to not feel at his best. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes the Emperor can even get overwhelmed, and it's about realizing that, and stepping back and figuring out what we can do. And if we need to reach out to somebody here, it doesn't matter. And this isn't medical advice, Cancer, but even if we need to reach out to like a professional, or maybe because it doesn't even have to be like a family member. It can be a friend that you bounce this ideas, maybe even like a mentor, a colleague, something along those lines, but just like working through this thing, and, admitting that, like, hey, I may be in over my head on something, or I'm trying to figure out how to process this thing, how to get this thing working, and I feel like it's something that when we learn to kind of lean on each other, there's a difference, I feel like, between, me being like codependent, or like whatever you may feel like that might mean, Cancer, because I feel like there's just like this resistance to reach out for help. Maybe we're in this place of this one. No. Yeah, I feel like maybe we're in this place of maybe in the past we've been, I don't know, maybe we've been told, because now we're in kind of we're getting into the challenges now, Cancer, and I'm wondering if maybe we've been, I don't know, if I'm getting almost like not like a lied to in the past, but it's just like maybe we've told ourselves for so long that it's just like that you have to be strong, you have to shoulder everything, that it's not, that you have to be strong all the time, that it's that when if you break down, it's a sign of weakness or something along those lines, Cancer. And I feel like that it's made it to where sure, at the time I can see where that is like, toughening someone up. I feel like there's a difference between bottling up our feelings here and having healthy coping mechanisms, because that's what I feel like might be missing here, is that some challenges is that maybe we're not going about this, dealing with getting our stability back in the most healthiest way. I feel like at some point, that forcing yourself to tell you that it's fine, that you have to suck this thing up, that you're, when you get frustrated or that you feel this, that it's I'm just getting that it's just like you might feel that it might be a weakness or something along those lines, Cancer. But if we keep labeling that thing, if we suppress that thing and we ignore it, every time it comes out, it's going to catch you off guard, and then it's going to get you in a weird kind of place and get you feeling some kind of way, and then we're not moving again. And then it's going to get a little more severe and a little more severe, and then it gets to this place of where it's like it's not even fight or flight anymore. It's just like freeze. We get into this place of just like what do we do? The emotions can become so much, because Cancer, we're a very emotional sign, and that may be, people might have told you that all the time, that's like the stigma with us, but that doesn't have to be where it's a crutch. It's just where it's just like it cripples us. It's just understanding that we have a lot of emotions that we're dealing with, and it changes so often, Cancer, even in the day. There's sometimes when we're on it, we're balanced, man, it's groovy, we're chilling, we can feel out the room, we're helping people. But when it's not, when it's a whirlwind, it's a monsoon. It's like a tropical storm, and you're trying to yell, and you're trying to get all the stuff here, but you can't hear over the wind. It's a lot, Cancer. And I'm hoping that this is making sense, because I feel like with this energy release right now, maybe some of us it's just something that I've seen. I feel like when I see, having been a Cancer, or having been, like, I've just stopped being a Cancer, being a Cancer, or seeing how even some of my other Cancerian people that I know, and seeing how they maybe interact with environments. I feel like we all sort of have that thing of that we just we take it on, we just like everything is fine. And I feel like when we say it's fine, that's when we're getting to that's when things are starting to bubble over here, Cancer. It's one thing, when you're great, when you're feeling your best, when you got swag in your step, but this to me gives me, how you doing, Cancer? Oh, I'm doing okay. Oh, I'm fine. It's just like, do we want to explore that? And then you might follow up with, yeah, blah, 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 give that little something, that validation, that little kind of like, yeah, but here, oh, you didn't believe that? Well, here you go. Here's a little nugget here, play with that for a little while I deal with this thing here. Cancer, allow yourself to feel this stuff. That's where I'll go with that. Let's get some advice and then get some oracle cards. I tell you what, since I hopefully, and you know what, maybe that'll help make your day, Cancer, because I found that a good oracle card always lifts me up a little bit. But that one, okay. Oi, those two, okay. We got all kinds of advice for you, Cancer. Let's see what's going on here. We got 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, and Knight of Moons. Absolutely, Cancer, man. We got a lot of advice here today. And I'm with that because with this little pocket here, I feel like, Cancer, it's kind of like what I was saying before, we get into this place of where we put ourselves in, where we convince ourselves that we're fine when we're not. And then it's like all you've done is taken all those harsh feelings and stuff, and now we've put them in a cage. We've locked them up, and they're just roaming around in there, because it's just like, wait a minute, Cancer, I'm trying to help you out here. There's wisdom trying to come out of this thing, lessons trying to come from this stuff, but we're ignoring our feelings, Cancer. Knight of Moons. I feel like this is something that it's time to feel it in a healthy way. You know what I mean? Let's. Oh, do I want to pull the oracle cards first? Yeah, let me pull the oracle cards before we pull over first, because, Cancer, it's one of those things that let's feel this in a healthy way. I feel like it becomes out in extremes. If we bottle this thing up, then when it happens, when that one thing that really gets you, it's going to explode. But if we learn to feel this stuff in moderation here, if we can find that middle ground, when I'm talking about like working with the energies and whatnot, this is something too to just, it's think of keeping eyes on the moon as being more present, and understanding how you're feeling within this day first start off, and then kind of notice, like, you get a little even more nuanced. How are you feeling in this hour? How are we feeling in this minute, until we get into where we're being more and more and more present, more mindful. And I know that's a lot, Cancer. I'm not asking you that, not putting it into practice myself. I get it. Believe me, it can be a lot. But it can be rewarding, and it can get to where that when situations happen like this, when we're not feeling at our most, at our strongest here, we can deal with this in a more healthy way, and we can tell that, okay, this is a little more serious. I might need a friend, as opposed to one where it's like, if it's kind of lighter, something like where it's like, maybe like a person, or just a lighter situation, like a lighter thing, Cancer. Something that that you can really deal with, and it's going to be all fine. You're just like, that you're just kind of feeling a certain way, and it's like distancing yourself. But I really feel like that it's Cancer. It's learning that whole thing to say, and thank you, higher self. It's working with the energies here. You got the Weaver here, and let's switch back over. Because, Cancer, if we get into this place of where we don't give these types of feelings space, the feelings of when we're insecure, feeling insecure, or when we're feeling frustrated, or when we're feeling angry, those more intense ones, those ones that it's just like, you have to bottle those up, otherwise you don't have any control. Well, Cancer, if we keep them bottled up, then we don't get a chance to understand how to get any kind of control over that, or learn how to work with that energy. If anything, let it be like a signal. When you're starting to get like that, it's just like, okay, what's happening in my environment that's even got these things, this response triggered, and then address that, and then assess that, because that's how we get coping skills. That's how we deal with when we're not feeling, when we're not feeling secure. And because I really feel like with this energy, it's like we're not feeling secure in ourselves or something along those lines, Cancer. And it doesn't even necessarily, like I was saying, it could be in emotions, it could be in finances. But either way, finances are going to connect to how you feel in life, and it's going to help it's going to affect how you're navigating here. So understand, how can we get eyes on that? What are some ways presently that we can get a cushion between the future and kind of start altering some stuff here, as opposed to weaving this thing of doom and gloom that I'm always going to be stuck in this energy here, Cancer. So just something to think about. So I think I'm going to leave that there. Yeah, hopefully, I hope that made sense. Give that a thumbs up. And share this in, Cancer, if we know someone who may be going through this energy, because this is tough, and it is one of those things that you don't have to go through this by yourself. We don't have to keep our emotions bottled up. There are healthy ways to express these feelings here. And then subscribe, hit that bell button. You'll get notified when I release videos each day. This one's coming out a little bit later. Ran into some technical things. Was dealing with something myself, but get that bell button. You'll get notified. And then I'm getting better about being all up on social media. Just like I've been saying, it's just been a lot that I got cooking up in the mix here. But it's gonna be some good stuff, Cancer. So stay tuned for that. And then lastly, I'm assuming you're here because you checked your sun, but check your sun, moon, and rising. Those are your big three, but check your chart when you get a chance, Cancer. And then go check out my other channel, Alchemist 8. I do weekly videos with different monthly themes. It's a good old time, and all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards, and so we can get you out of here. So here, you got the 5 of Stars in reverse, which I like that. And then over here, we have the Cleanse card. In Cancer, I feel like let's start with this Cleanse card, because I feel like this is something. Let's take this broom here and just kind of sweep the ways of just like that you're in this by yourself, that you have to shoulder all these things, that we have to feel, that we have to bottle that up. Let's sweep that away, let's start bringing in some new ways of thinking here. And then another thing too, the 5 of Stars in reverse, I feel like this is like, this is a reminder that you're not alone, that there is help and hope out there for you, Cancer. That this is not something to where if you feel like you don't have the grips on this thing, that you're a failure or whatever you might be telling yourself. The whole point that I even started these channels is to remind us too that we're a soul tribe. If even like the power that we have here, someone's like helping me have power here. Someone is also packaging the teas that I order here. It's like we're all tied in together in some way, shape, or form. If on a more expansive level, you are not in this alone, Cancer. There are ways for us to work in this thing together, and I feel like it's we're getting to this place as more collaborating happens, hopefully more people see that, that it's not, you don't have to do this all by yourself, that there is a support system here for you. So I'm gonna leave that there, Cancer. I like that, that raised my vibration a little bit. So stay safe out there. Keep eyes on the moon. Let's be present. Let's be more aware of what's going on with ourselves, because that's how we refine our abilities, Cancer. That all those emotions that you're feeling, imagine being able to ride that wave like a G, and just like really kind of feeling this stuff out here, and then showing everybody else how to do that, that you don't have to get caught up in the storm. You can be in the eye of the storm and have eyes on the storm as opposed to being in the storm. Look at you, Cancer, making me wise. That was good, Cancer. Get out there, keep eyes on the moon, and I will catch you on the next one tomorrow. Love that.